All right, Louisa, you are a co-host, and I have pinned you. There we go.
You want to carry this? What's that? You want to carry it? I'm going to grab it really quick. Sure. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. No, I see me, which is fine. I don't need to carry it.
No, we're glad to be here. Hey, Dean. Tell Dean hello.
Dean, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Well, that's
There I am.
That's from him.
How's the end of the year so far? No tickets came out. Come out.
Tuck your shirt in, Dean. Tuck your shirt in.
Don't worry. You look fine.
Hey, Dean.
This is Randall Carr. She runs the mini marathon
Wow.
at Disney World.
Wow.
This year, but last year and the year before.
You wearing a Cubs hat?
She's in good shape. She can run and she'll be right back.
Sure.
So Louisa, are we? I heard there was a calf being born. Is Marissa able to catch it, or whatever that process looks like?
Yeah, I want to go down there first, actually.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
Kind of loop back around. What I'd like to do is kind of offload the gimbal here.
No, I'm just. There should be somebody who can take the camera if you like.
It could be
She's not here yet.
It could be a Dickinson family thing up to the shoulder.
A Dickinson family thing up to the shoulder, he says.
So I think the number one rule is nobody can take a cow
Family
home.
farm by Augusta, east of Augusta, at the end of the war. And all my relatives, I shouldn't say all, but several of my relatives had farms. Today, none of them have farms.
Sure.
And back in 52, 53, they went through the country, and at the time I didn't know what was going on. My mom and dad said, summers with my relatives and driving the tractor all day long. Today the child labor laws wouldn't allow for it.
You'd be surprised yet what you can get away with.
I was 10, 11, 12 years old. I was driving tractor.
Yep.
I remember going to bed one night. My mom came up to get me, and I heard my grandpa say to my mom, I couldn't have got it done if they had been for me. What was significant about it, it was the first time in my life that I can remember that I had significance outside of myself. I was significant to somebody else. Oh my God. Okay. He paid me $1 a day in keep.
Wow.
I was the richest kid in the north side of my grandpa. Yeah. I had $11 in my pocket, and I spent a lot of money besides. Yeah.
So there's a way to flip it to the other camera. I think you gotta touch one of those things. There's a flip camera to the other side.
Oh, Dane's got the beard trimmed on.
Cooking gets gas today, I guess.
Emily and Lisa and Ashley and Bill are on. Emily, Ashley, Bill. Lisa. You said Lisa, not you. Huh?
Looks like there's somebody here.
Yeah. Maybe we do an introduction to guests. Yeah.
Who is our master camera operator right now?
Who's our master camera operator right now? Aaron. It's Aaron.
Aaron,
He's doing great.
awesome. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
I have to go on here.
Yeah, you'll have to turn your mic on.
Josh, can you hear me?
I can.
That's kind of new.
Marissa's mic is on.
Marissa's mic.
I don't know. I don't get it. All right. Well, no, because they've got to hear me.
There's
She's got her earbud though, so I'll just put it here. I don't know, but let's Might be a gibber on the front.
Let's go stand in the shade.
All right, you guys. So, yeah, accomplished today. Coming up here. Hopefully we dodge the storm. I think we'll be good. We're gonna switch things up a little in terms of order because there's a caffeine on Louisa's end. But I did want to welcome really quick. And Jeff.
Aaron, could you get a little closer to Marissa? We were having a hard time hearing her.
Hi, Peter and Jeff.
Can you get closer to him?
Jared, you have a guest.
Jared.
Jared. Hi, Jared. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. And then Phil, you guys are in the last meeting in Griffin. Yes. And then do you have any guests online?
Do we have any guests online? I'll take that as a no. We're gonna bypass the Pledge of Allegiance today because I forgot my flag in the car. But I want to give a warm welcome to Creamery Creek Dairy. We're really excited to be here today. Creamery Creek Holsteins originated in 2010. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. When Justin and Louisa, who's here, merged their 100 cows with the existing 150 cow Hansline herd belonging to the Hanson family. So if you've gone to Hanson's IGA or any of the Nest Adventure places, that's the Hanson family. The partnership Creamery Creek Holsteins is named after the creek running through the farm and the local creamery that operated at the turn of the 20th century. Louisa and her husband Justin bought their first 5 heifers in 2005, the same year they were married. They're originally from Michigan, but an internship brought them to Wisconsin, and they both grew up and attended Michigan State University. The Hanson family actually met Justin and Louisa when they put a classified ad out that said wanted dairy farm to rent 200 to 300 cow sand bedded freestyle barn with parlor. And in 2010, Justin and Louisa moved onto this farmstead with their 2 children, Joseph and Jake, and then later came Josh and Joanna. So Creamery Creek continues to be a joint venture with the 2 families, and the 4th generation of the Hanson family carries on the partnership with the Petersons. So without further ado, please give Louisa and Joanna a warm welcome. All you.
Thank you, and thanks for coming. And you'll have to tell me if you've been here before. Anybody? Yeah, cool. And who was last summer with the Christmas in July dairy giveaway at the mall?
You?
Cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was probably the biggest dairy giveaway in Western Wisconsin that we can see. So your help and partnership, like that was, thank you, thank you, thank you. So the Rotary Lights banner headlined it, and then we worked together on the rest of the details. But I know that your club put a lot of hours and moved a lot of product that day, so appreciate it. Anyways, Marissa's right. We've moved here in 2010 after crisscrossing the state a couple times with kids and cows. No small feat, I promise, but it's been great. Like, we have grown several times since we've moved here, from 200 cows, 400 cows, and right now we're milking 700 cows 3 times a day. So our milking shifts are 4 a.m., noon, and 8 p.m. So shift change will kind of be right after our thing here. But there's so many things I want to tell you and show you about Wisconsin dairy, and I can't wait, but there are things that I cannot plan. And there is a cow calving like right now. So at least I want to go down and see her. So cows are kind of calm, gentle, no quick movements, no hollering. I know it'll be exciting if you see something. So if you have any questions while we're down there, just always please let me know. But it's not something I can plan. So at least let's start there. That's what I'd like to do. And then maybe end up here at the end. So this is our milking facility. It's a double 10 parlor, which means we milk 20 cows at a time. And we direct load onto semis. So it's rapid cooled, chilled, and then hauled to a plant about 2 hours from here. And all of our milk is made into butter.
All your milk is made into butter.
Mhm.
You need to-
Okay.
Turn on
Sure.
Facebook when you're doing that.
Sorry. So,
That's all right. No.
and it takes about 21 pounds of milk to make a pound of butter. So when you think about how much fat is in milk, it's it all adds up to, it's like 10 pounds of milk to make a pound of cheese, but it's 21 pounds of milk to make a pound of butter. So if you're a butter lover, I love that too. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
5% butter back there.
We're over 4, but it's
Yeah.
not 5. Wait, they're not colored greens. So this is our special care barn. There are dry cows in here, fresh cows in here, and actually this is where the magic happens too. So like that, all the babies are born in this barn too. Dry means a cow that we're not milking. A fresh cow means a cow that's just had a baby. And cows in the regular lactation are in some of the freestyle barns, which I'll point out in a bit.
They're lactating.
They just had a baby. Fresh means fresh. Yep. So that fresh milk is the milk that we also feed to the babies. We missed it. So this is fresh. And we missed it. So she's gonna check us out. A little bit. She's not used to us, but we're not in there, so it will be okay. So 49.96 is a heifer. This is her very first calf. And she's doing great. You can see that she's leaking a little bit of milk right now. And that's called colostrum. And that is extremely important to get into the calf ASAP. Cows are different than people where they're not born with immunities like the same way we are. We have natural immunities through our mother umbilical cord. Cows are different. They have to be fed their immunities, and they are fed through their first 2 feedings. So this is high in immunities, high in fat and protein, everything really to get the calf going on her best start. So I assume that this is a heifer calf. I have not gone in there to check it out, but she was bred to sex semen, so that means she has a high probability of having a heifer calf. She's also in here for calving reasons, but this is not her calf. Is she protected? Sometimes, but this cow has had a calf before, the black one, and she is in here doing what she knows what to do. So those are Fitbits, and I'll talk about those in a different farm, in a different barn.
How old is the calf?
She's probably 10 minutes old. Like honestly, there was feet when I walked over there, and I was like, but
Look at she's trying to get up.
yeah, calves can walk within an hour of being born.
Is it the feeding?
The colostrum gene? Yeah. So her fresh milk is the milk that calf needs to really thrive and survive around here.
Okay. What do you
Colostrum, and it's a golden color. It's not like white milk that you get in a jug. It's like the beginning milk of a cow's lactation, and it's only to feed a calf. We do. We don't have any bulls on the farm. No bulls on the farm. So on our farm, there are 10 full-time employees besides my husband and I, and a couple of part-time folks. And so our herd manager will do the breeding, and our feeder will do some relief breeding.
Have any Hispanics working for you?
Yeah, yep. Hispanics, American, and Amish.
And then this barn is only for.
This is called our special care barn. We've got dry cows here. This is cows that are going to have a calf in the next couple of weeks. Then we've got cows on the other side who are freshened in the last couple of weeks. They're in the peak of their milk lactation. They need the most amount of attention. And then we've got the calving pen here.
Cycle your actually producing the milk. How often do you cycle to maybe your?
So a cow will have a calf on average every year or a little bit more than every year. Our cows average in age between 5 and 6 years old.
5 and 6.
And our oldest cow here was 12, so just recently, sadly. But we're pushing for an older herd. Well, then they'll move into a different market, like a beef market or other.
Big market for the whole state beef.
There is, yes. She's got so much lather on her face from the other cow. The calf does. Not yet. Just rotary after hours congestion. So if she's a she will end up with a name. Her first name will be Creamery Creek. Her middle name will be her dad's short name, and her last name will be her management number, which is in the 5,000s. So not very original, but very effective. Yep, if it's a boy, he'll move into a different market too, the meat market. I mean, I could watch this all day. This stuff never gets old. But what Misael is doing with the skid loader is scraping manure. So he's got the cows to the front side and he's scraping the manure pens clean to keep their feet clean. The water is clean. These cows don't really care where they flop. I didn't really say, but photography is okay. In general, just not everywhere, posted on the internet. That's all. I can't really stop it. I know there's amazing editors out there. Well, let's find a quieter spot because this is kind of noisy.
Oh, there's first ever cat.
So there are three major things that cows produce that are extremely valuable to us: milk, meat, and manure. And so we save our manure in a lagoon and we apply it to our fields before we plant our crops in the spring and after we harvest our crops in the fall. And that allows us to capture a lot of the extra nitrogen that manure has in there. Like cow manure is more valuable to us than any other commercial fertilizer that we can buy. The nutrient profile is amazing. So when you see manure pits, they're not a bad thing. They're very, very good thing. So this manure pit is 5.5 million gallons. Doesn't look like it, but the walls are 12 feet high, so a lot of it's buried. And it has a concrete ramp. So we launch a boat in there a couple times a year, and it's like a jet boat, and it agitates. So there's sand in there, and there's manure in there, and it kind of makes this slurry that we can pump out into hoses, and it'll go on fields up to 5 miles from here with booster pumps and plus. So there's variable rate manure application and all kinds of other highly technical things way above my pay grade, but I promise you we do the very best we can to utilize it here on the farm to grow crops, to feed our cows, to complete the circle.
But not all of it gets used here. Some of it goes to other farms.
So we rent almost 2,600 acres. And in this particular area, it takes about 2 acres to feed a dairy cow every year. So we've got about 800 cows here at the home farm. We've got heifers and dry cows at another facility. And that leaves us a little bit of buffer for weather events or other that you can't plan for, so that you're not short on feed. Feed the cows is very important. They take care of us. So. Yeah, almost 6 months sometimes. It still smells. No, it forms a crust on the top, and you don't smell it until you agitate it. So what we've learned since living here, just not like a mile from town, is not to agitate it before homecoming because we are so close to the football field. And otherwise we just try to be good neighbors and, you know, haul the solids out of the bottom of the pit after on close farms when we don't have to drive it on the road. So sometimes it's unavoidable, but we choose. So, all right, well, let's go into the big barn because there's a lot of other things to see and talk about out there. Any questions? Anybody online?
I'll ask them right away if somebody does. Oh, yeah. They're just saying they can hear pretty good.
Oh, great. Oh, good. Thank you. I know it's a little crazy here today. So this is our freestall barn.
Ask that you give tours to the general public.
Yes, call me. This is our freestall barn. So in Wisconsin, not all the weather is conducive for having cows outside all the time. So we do our very best to make them as comfortable inside as possible. So in the winter, there are curtains that go up and down, kind of make walls onto the side. And it kind of, we can close the garage doors and it buttons up and it's pretty warm in here. So everybody stays pretty warm. In the summer, we open it up as wide as possible, turn our fans on. And then in the summer, hot, we turn our mister system on too. Because the combination of water plus fan has a cooling effect on the cow and helps her just manage her heat stress. So there are 4 pens here. In each of our pens, we use a recycled street sweeper brush from the city of Sparta, mounted on brackets, and cows can groom themselves, like brush up against it, get the places they can't reach with their hooves. And we'll see them use it a lot in the spring because they'll shed their winter coat for a smoother summer coat too. So there'll be a giant hair pile on the floor. It's totally fine. But then one of the other things that we do for our cows here in this barn, they have sand bedded freestalls, which is inorganic bedding. Sand is highly available in this area, especially this special spherical sand that they use for fracking. That's more available now than ever before because it's not going anywhere else. And our fields here are pretty sandy, so it doesn't really change our soil profile either to use sand. So it's kind of the gold standard as far as bedding goes on cows. It's hard on equipment, but easy on cows. So sort of like, I describe it like a day at the beach. It's pretty comfy. The other thing is we clean out their waters every day. So you'll see some of their feed. We mix it up all together. So the majority of what you see here is corn silage, alfalfa haylage. There's a protein mix in here that we get custom blended for our feed partners, Starlines and Sparta. And some of that feed comes from crops right here at the farm. And then there's also some cottonseed and some other mineral packed blends. So there's a professional nutritionist that we work with. Each of these groups has different nutritional needs. So based on what we harvest and what we need, how we can feed our cows to make the best milk to make the best butter. So that's kind of the process. But this is, it's been fermented. Even though cows have 4 stomachs and can like eat and transform stuff that we can't eat into stuff that we can. Their fermentation process helps them It helps it be more available to them so that they can produce more milk too. So
How many acres of corn, how many acres of maize? What are you farming?
so so my husband would tell you all the numbers, but it's 2,600 acres altogether. And the majority of it is corn for silage, not corn for grain. And then some soybeans. The rest, a big chunk would be alfalfa, 600-ish acres. We also plant rye for cover crops. So after we harvest all of our fields, we've got a rye seed that we plant on top, and that's kind of, it helps protect the soil, keep it like in place so there's not runoff and other things. And it scavenges nutrients and it like holds it right there at the top of the fields too. So when it's time to till it in the spring and plant our new crop, then there's that extra biomatter there too. So folks must. So these are headlocks. And when we are trying to find a cow or work with her or whatever, we can set these headlocks and it will lock them in place. It's not they're not locked right now, but it would lock like this, stay in place. So that's what our veterinarian would use if he's doing like herd checks or pregnant checks. So we can find out or help a cow or kind of contain her in a safe spot that she's used to being in. So. Any questions?
Yeah, it's like one veterinarian that you have? Or?
So we vet with the Cashton Vet Clinic, and we've got one main veterinarian, Dr. Andrew Mason. He's from England, but we don't hold it against him. He's actually very brilliant as far as reproduction goes, something that we care very much about. And sometimes his relief friend, Dr. Jesse, helps us out here too. But we do her checks every Monday morning at 9 a.m. at this farm and every other Thursday at the other farm. So the other farm's in Big Creek. So there's a cycle, like a natural cycle, right? So her gestation is 9 months, the same as a human. It takes her 9 months to grow a baby. And then towards the end of her gestation is actually when she gets her vacation, right? Like we think of maternity leave as after we have a baby, then we're off. It's different for cows, right? They start working as soon as they have a baby. So that's where we take care of the babies. We feed them first with the milk and then we sell the rest. So we'll go out to the hutches and see babies too, but they grow very fast. So I tell people cow years to human years are like 9 to 1, you know how like dog years are 7 to 1 or whatever. So she's having her first calf at 2, which would be 18-ish. So, and I'd said it earlier, but I don't know if everyone heard it. They're so about 6 years old is our average herd age here. And our oldest cow in the great grandma pen was 12 until just recently, but there are some very aged cows in that group. And that's okay.
You milk the cow's calf every year?
Or a little bit more than every year. So maybe not every 12 months, but every 14 months or so.
Life expectancy for a cow?
I think 16 for cows that are backyard cows, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it, like not pushed that way. But we don't use any other GBH, bovine growth hormone, or any other RBST, which is a hormone that a cow can make to make more milk. We don't use any of that.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Let's say you got 800 cows.
Yeah.
And they're dropping a calf, just say for the sake of it, every year.
Okay.
And you're recycling into your herd about every 6 years. Let's say every 5 years. That means you only move 400 of your calves that you raised up into the dairy herd, which means that 740 or 700, 7,500, 7,400 calves are going off.
All right, so you've got generally a 50-50 chance to have a heifer or a bull, right? So
Okay,
not,
there's a good point.
and then the other point is we're not breeding all of these back to Holstein bulls. So like the early part of our genetic program would breed to like Holstein, but after that, we're kind of looking for a cross Holstein beef calf. And there are special places for folks who are just looking for Angus Holstein crosses to move through their feedlots too. So
What is the percentage of those efforts?
we use sexed semen, which is a
Oh, okay.
technology that tells us, 85% chance that you're going to have a heifer if you use the semen, or I think there's like 92%. And we use that type of semen on our youngest heifers so that we can make genetic progress very quickly. You're welcome. So I'll say our cows average 100 pounds of milk a day. So, and it's 8.6 gallons per 100 weight. But we sell, yeah. But at the peak of her milk lactation, she's different than probably at, so that's average.
Is the price better for milk that you're producing for butter than it would be for milk?
We do get a fat premium and a quality premium and a direct load premium. So those are.
I have friends that say that the price of milk is not very good right now, just right now.
Yeah.
It's really hard to even cover costs.
Yeah.
So,
And there's not a lot of places taking new milk, right? You used to be able to shop around your milk and pick the best spot for you and your cows and your type of milk, but it's different now. It is pretty tight, I would say. So we talked about it very briefly in the other barn when there was a calf over there, but they have collars around their necks, and I sort of describe it like they're Fitbits for cows because it keeps track of their step count. Every cow has an average, and a computer keeps track of that. So if she deviates from her average, like if she spikes, she's possibly in heat. If she dips from her average, it tells us she's probably not feeling well and go check her out. She'll show up on a list. Most of us carry the herd program in our pockets so we can see what we need to see. But that helps us individually manage this many cows in one location, right? Like the herd manager doesn't work all day and we don't work all day, but we all can work together to still know all the same stuff. So it's a gyroscope. So it also keeps track of her rumination, how many times she burps up her food to digest it, to swallow it, and chew it again, right? So those collars are very valuable to us. A piece of technology that's probably been out for 10 years, widely used for probably the last 5. But I would say rural internet is probably one of the biggest impediments to making improvements on that program for us. So I know you love Wi-Fi. I love high-speed Wi-Fi. We don't get it out here. Or fiber optic or anything. We don't know that up. I don't know. It comes down and down and down. It's more compressive. The other thing that the cows have besides ear tags in both sides of their ear, so they've got their management number in their ear, they've got their mom's number right above their number, and then their dad's short name right above their other ear. You can see it on both sides. And then her hang tag will say her date of birth too. So there's a lot of information we can find out about the cow without like looking her up at all. But besides that, she's got a little white button tag, and it's a radio frequency identification tag. And so we use a wand if we're looking for a certain cow in this whole thing. We don't have to see everybody's number, right? It'll just beep when we're close to her so we can find out what we're looking for. So all these pieces of technology, like I said, help us individually manage all these different cows so they don't fall through the cracks, and we can help her as soon as she needs it or not. There are cows here that we hardly ever work with, hardly ever know, just because they're rock stars all the time, every day. So you may have noticed when we walked in, I don't know if you can see it in here, it's a little dark, but they have a little bit of green or blue on their feet, and that's a foot bath they can walk through, and that helps their feet stay strong and healthy. And then there's a hoof trimmer that comes, so they get pedicures 2 or 3 times a year. More than me. There are 4 groups in this barn, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's another freestyle barn to the north of us. So there are 6 milking pens all together. And then we, believe it or not, we don't start with group 1. We start with group 3 because they're the 2-year-old get up and go crowd, and the great grandma cows in pen 1 are kind of like, no hurry. So our milking group is 3, 1, 4, 2, 5, 6. So,
I have a question about the collars. So the collars let you know that the cow might not be feeling well. Have you got an example where it's like a widespread freak out like
Not generally. Cows are individuals too. So if you see a group of them, maybe like go off feed or any other reason, then that's like 911 emergency. We haven't had one in a while. Yes. Anything out of their ordinary at all, she's on the go check it out list. So her average might be different than her average might be different than the next average. Some cows are really busy and social. Some cows are really, I just want to be in the corner. Do not bother me. And, oh, are there any questions in here before we loop around? See some heifers. We've got 2 pigs and a rooster. And sometimes that's okay. How are we doing on time?
6:30.
Okay, great. I can talk about my favorite subject all day. Did you? Cool.
I'd rather do that than I'd rather do that and have the pressure. It is something even kind of
Not rushing anyone, right?
Oh no, you're fine.
So I actually grew up in Bangor.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up right down by the post office. So
All right.
smaller farm.
Yes, yes. Actually, when we moved here, it was too.
I feel like a cow out there.
Let him be. Yeah, he actually just lives in this barn. We don't do anything to keep him here or discourage him. He just hangs out. We thought she was a she until he started cock-a-doodle-dooing, and then, well, we just stick to cows now. All right, so this is our heifer barn. After cows move out of hutches, like their room, then that's when they start group penning. So this is a group of heifers that you can see are on, let's see, some shredded paper, and that comes from our neighbor. And one of the ways that we can just improve our sustainability goals, but also our neighbor too. This is compostable, and we'll move into the manure and then move into the bedded pack where we haul out. So there's probably top secret stuff in there. I have no idea.
So how long it will be for the new calf that we saw will be in the
9 weeks. So 8 weeks plus 1. So, but we have some very famous heifers in here. 3 calves we adopted out to classrooms across the country, and it was kind of like a not big deal program. And then the COVID, and then virtual field trips, and then anyways, 9,000 students adopted these 3 calves, Penny and Petunia. So it's 5447, 5454, and 5456. So if you see them, there are many, many students out there that recognize them. They got updates as they were born over the winter. Followed them on the Instagram. I don't even know, but they are our most famous heifers. When we signed up, I was like, oh yeah, adopt a couple classroom calves, no problem. They are. So as they are weaned off of milk, plus then another week or 2 to stabilize, and then because that's kind of a stressor point, and then group penning is also a stressor point, but then they're group penned for the rest of their lives. So they'll start being friends or not friends with some of the same calves.
Yeah.
So this is the youngest group. They move around this barn until this group, and then from here they move to the other farm. They're bred up at the other farm and then come back here a couple weeks pre-fresh and then are in that dry cow group that we saw first before the calving pen. So it's kind of a big. Yep. All right.
The 20% low battery thing, I don't know if it matters. If can I just
I
run
think
it
so.
out? Or
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Aaron said your battery is.
Yeah, that's what he
popping up.
said. I think as long as we get to the end and then I.
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, we can always
Okay.
jump on this one.
Okay. This place is just one of the northern pens, but this is what dairy farmers love to see, cows laying down. Yep. This group was in the parlor last, so they'll be in the parlor last in the next group. So.
groups are there?
Well, 6 main groups and then 2 more hospital group of fresh cows. Just keep going.
Just look like they're relaxing.
That is what dairy farmers love to see, like chillaxing cows. This is what makes them happy.
So why are those ones so worked out?
They're not used to us being in there. This group has already been in to be milked and has eaten what they want to eat, and now they just want to chill.
They're getting ready.
So the next group starts at 8 p.m. tonight. So actually, pen 3 will be first, then pen 1, then 4, and then 2 in that barn that we were just in.
Don't get them? Or no?
They do. They're just, this is the last group in the cycle to get milked. So this is their chill period. Yes. Every time new cows get introduced to a group, there's a new pecking order. Some cows like stay out of the whole thing, and some cows are like, I'm the boss cow. I've heard that. I don't have scientific evidence of that. I've heard that.
Cows chilling.
Yeah, laying down. No, I don't think so. No, I don't. So I love babies, you love babies, but what I was talking about at the beginning of our tour is that the colostrum is very important for a calf, and that when she was born with no immunities, like we have 1 chance to grow lungs. So at our farm and our management technique, we use hutches, which is basically their own room, their own yard, their own buckets, and nobody else shares them. So as they're growing and developing their immune system, growing their lungs, this is one of the healthiest ways for us to raise a calf. We've tried some other, but it always comes back to hutches. So I generally, unless you're wearing gloves, don't ask people to even handle heifers at this age. Older is no problem. So that sort of varies, but in general, hour and a half, and then the cow is kind of licking off the calf, stimulating her, getting her going. But then it's very, very important for us to harvest that colostrum and feed it to that calf too. So that cow will go into the parlor, we'll harvest her colostrum. We'll test it to make sure it meets our parameters, and if it doesn't, then we have other stuff that's frozen that we'll use, so that our replacement animals have the very best start, every single one, every single time.
And then you said it does have more contact with mother later, or is it?
Nope, that's it. She's like working, so we take care of the babies.
When did they get moved out here? How long after?
So they'll get their first 2 colostrum feedings up in the NICU or whatever up by the barn. and then they'll move into their own hutches that first day. And they'll be out here 6, 7, 8 weeks, and then their 9th week will be in the barn.
Do you get to name the cows? Sometimes.
We'll get to the milking part later, I promise. That's normally where I start, but we
Ramble.
But I have for milk. I have for milk when I go to bed. Can you hear okay out here, or is it too windy? Good. Yeah, this is probably one of the breeziest spots. So I'll just point out a couple things, and then we can keep
moving because I know my battery's dying. But, so I know some farms use other techniques, silos, but these long white bags are like horizontal silos, so that we basically encapsulate the feed in there, kind of ferments for a bit, but then we start feeding it. So the plastic from these bags gets recycled in those white dumpsters. There's a collection point at the dump, and then it goes down the river on a barge, and it gets recycled into household garbage bags. Other than that, cows can use a lot of things that are otherwise byproducts of the world. So cottonseed, the stuff that's left over after they're making blue jeans and t-shirts, there's still a lot of protein in it. Cows can digest it, make it into milk. This pile over here behind that rubber tire scraper are oat hulls from Quaker in Iowa. So after they're done making oatmeal, there's something left over, still has a lot of fiber. The cow can digest that, make that into something that we can eat too. So, I mean, I could talk about it all day, but if you want my opinion, cows can save the world. All right, it's kind of breezy here, so I don't know if they can even hear me. Let's keep moving. Cool. Talk about some neat things out here. I will. Letter B. Just to point out a couple other things, this is one of our other feed pads. That red and white implement down there is our bagger. So a semi or straight truck would back into it, and that's how we would make these big white bags. This yellowish tank is an insulated whey tank. So we get whey from like Westby cheese, and that gets fed back to cows too, because it's high in protein. And then you've got like their mineral protein diets and different bins over here too. So just more ways cows can reduce use. My main points here today. Just quick, Aaron, that's our TMR mixer, total mixed ration. It's sort of like my KitchenAid mixer. It mixes all the stuff up together. And that's what we use to make different batches in the barn too. So yes, of the food. There's like 14 different recipes that our feeder uses every day.
Do the cows like certain ones better than
It
others?
depends on where they are in their milk lactation, like what their needs are. So we do try to make it consistent. And that piece of equipment is one of the ways we do that. You go get secret treats out of the basement. See if your brother can help you. There's $5 this. Just finishing up. I knew we should start just the way it goes. Finishing up milking for this shift, and then it takes about an hour to wash, and then we start over at 8 p.m. There's one cow in there, and I don't know if she's done or not, but I see that Gennaro is cleaning up. So I'll just kind of explain how the parlor works. So come on in anyways. Gennaro, is it okay if we come down in here? Is she okay? Is she done? Okay. Okay. I don't want to mess up the program here. So this is not fancy at all. This is kind of like your average Wisconsin dairy parlor facility. We use pneumatic front ends so that they lift up and the cows can walk out. So they'll come in this group here. They'll single filely like come into the parlor and line up parallel style. So we'll milk 10 cows on this side, 10 cows on this side for 20 all at the same time. Their milk will go through here. There's like a really soft pulsation, and it's like alternating pulsation. It's actually very comfortable for cows to be milked. It does not hurt them. They walk in here willingly. We never have to be like, it's time to go. And they like their routine. So if they're the first ones in the parlor, excuse me, they'll always be the first ones in.
How many workers do you in the parlor?
One. There'll be one in the, excuse me, I just had some air or something. Sorry. Anyway, you'll see the first cows always be the first cows, and the last cows always be the last cows, because that's the routine. Cows love routine. So after the milk goes through the blue line, it'll go through the silver line. It gets rapid chilled with like a chiller that you'll see at like convenience stores. It the first stage of the chilling process, we use water from our well to kind of take the edge off the heat. Comes out of the cow at 101 degrees. That'll take it down to about 60. Bring it out. And then we use like a glycol chiller to take it down to about 34 degrees, and it loads on the trailer at 34 degrees. So. Does it load on the trailer right away? Yep. So milking to trailer time is less said 30 seconds. And actually, rapid chilling milk helps preserve its flavor, helps preserve its integrity, all these things. So rapid chilling is a tool that we use on our farm too. I just asked Gennaro that. Oh, she's the new mom. So yes, she's been here to harvest the last one. Of course I recognize her number. Why didn't I recognize her face? So sorry. Sorry, sweetie. Oh, okay. They're like activity monitors. They keep track of her step count and her rumination. So if she deviates from her average, which could be different than other averages, then we go and get eyes on her. That means that she'd either be in heat or she's sick. Those are two reasons we want to go find her. No, but she's also got another ear tag with the RFID radio frequency that we use a wand, so we can get close and it'll beep beep beep, so we don't have to see everything. So yes, they poop everywhere. They don't even care. How rude. Yep. Nope, this is it. It takes anywhere from 8 to 14 minutes, depending on if she's a long milker or a short milker. Some cows have like very quick letdown and other cows don't. 7 hours. Then we wash for, yeah. Then we wash for an hour and then we start over. So there are 10 full-time employees on the home farm. This farm, 3 part-time besides my husband and I, and then 1 at the other facility, which is like chill. This is much more intensive than the other farm. That's where cows will go on vacation. They get away from all this. Let's go back out there. Johanna has ice cream. You didn't even get a smile on there. Oh, Johanna has ice cream. Still no. Well, what do you think? Not very often. No. Yeah.
That's a real different thing.
Before each
cow?
Yep. And then we post dip them afterwards too as a teat protectant. So before they go back to their spots, they've kind of got like an iodine plus a moisturizer. And that kind of helps keep her udder health in top shape.
Do you aware that dairy operation that's all east of Grove Road, where they have the big carousel?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Place too.
Mhm.
Our Rotary group has been out there. And
Cool. Well, should we sign off? I have a treat for everyone.
That would be awesome.
do you have any virtual ice cream?
I should invent that.
You guys should be here. You're gonna miss out on ice cream. So I think that concludes everything, right? Lisa does have a treat for us, but we just wanted to give you a huge thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is really, really cool.
No problem.
I knew nothing about dairy farming, and I have a whole new level of appreciation and respect for it. It's a lot of work. You guys are hard workers.
Well, 95% of the farms, well, I think actually you had that on your Facebook page. 95% of them are family owned and operated. And 90% of Wisconsin milk is made into cheese, and 90% of that cheese goes outside of Wisconsin. So like share the love.
The dairy industry in Wisconsin.
I want you to bring the boxes of ice cream out from the first freezer in the basement and ask your brother to help in an emergency fashion.
Already have
Shop in there.
We do. Can you guys hear me online?
Yeah, well,
Hear you.
kind of.
Do have a couple announcements that we want to make before we officially conclude, and we need to get a picture somehow with Creamery Creek in the background. So don't leave until we get a picture and you get your ice cream. But sorry, I had to resort to notes here. Jennifer, come up here, please. So some of you know that we played, and Brandon, we played in the the Rotary Works golf outing, and we did not get last place, you guys. So we represented Ravel. We actually shot, what was it? 64, which was how many under?
6 or 7 under par.
6 or 7 under par. Might have lost over 15. Oh, okay. Okay, you want to use mine? Can you guys hear me okay, Bill?
Yes, yes,
Yeah?
you're back.
All right, you're gonna
You're
have to flip it. Sorry, Aaron. Aaron's doing a great job at cameraman, isn't he? Good job, Aaron. But it was a really fun time, so thank you, Brandon and Jennifer, for playing in that. How many balls did we lose?
Too many.
Way too many. I personally lost 10. Probably. Like, that's not even an exaggeration. I'm terrible. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Just to give you a membership update, we are at 60. I don't even know the number right now. But we have lost some members. As you guys know, Lucas and Laramie moved to Milwaukee. Kate Beckett with Big Brothers, Big Sisters moved back to Minneapolis. Cindy Yeske and Mike Nyber are no longer going to be in Rotary After Hours. We do have some upcoming events. Our flag is, I don't think Caitlin's on, but anybody that wants to come and do memorial flags at Oak Grove Cemetery, that's tomorrow at 5, or it goes pretty quick. It'll be done by 6, I think. Or is that 5:30? No, that's not done. Oh yeah, it'll be done at 5:30. So if you come after that, don't bother. It'll be done. What else? Oh, Josh, I don't think you can hear, so I'll just, I mean, we can't hear you.
We can
But
hear you.
we have
Josh
2
can hear
really big volunteer events in June that we need like all hands on deck. It's very seldom that we have volunteer opportunities that we actually get paid to volunteer at. And that money is money that we'll raise for our Polio Plus goals, and we don't have to do work then during the year. So first one is Airfest parking on June 13th. There's 2 different shifts that you can sign up for. We need 10 people for each shift. We're going to partner with Rotary East to do that, so it'll be a good opportunity to meet people from Rotary East. And then the second one is June 27th or 8th, trying to determine the final date with Riverfest, but it's doing the fencing for Riverfest, and we'll get close to $1,000 for both events. So it's a big deal. So I would appreciate if you guys could sign up for one of those. What else am I forgetting? Oh, birthday party is June 4th. That's a week from Friday. Things are coming together. It's going to be a good time. We have, I think, like 85 chickens sold so far, so it should be a pretty good turnout. And with that, I wanted to recognize our May Rotarian of the Month. This is a member that has been part of our club for a long time, since 2015 specifically. She's been involved in a number of roles within our club and across the district. She's never afraid to step up and go the extra mile for anybody. Over her 6 years, she's been on the board of directors. She served as secretary. She's been our treasurer. Her attention to detail, her follow through, her teamwork has always been really appreciated. It's a really busy time of the year for her because she's an active member on the district grants committee as the chair. This is something that she's done the last 3 years, leading the process for almost $100,000 for giving in giving. I'd like to congratulate Liz Evans as our Canadian Rotary. And good humor to any group she works with. She's really a pleasure to work with. She's so hopeful, and one Rotarian shares that project. While not doing Rotary, she also makes a big difference in our community through her job at United Way as the community impact coordinator, facilitates grants and primary facilitator of the annual Compass report. So Liz, thank you so much for all that you do for Rotary, for our club, for the district, for the community. I have a pin for you somewhere in my pocket here, but congratulations for our May Rotary.
Yeah, Liz.
And with that, you guys, it's actually 7 o'clock, and we
Thank
finished
you.
on time, so.
Oh, I thought I was
With
gonna ice
that,
cream there for a
we
second.
do have oh, thank you. The final, that's it for closing reminders. With that, if we could just state the 5-way test, and then you're welcome to hang out. Actually, let's get a picture before we leave. believe, but in all the things that we think say are new,
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it bring better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And will it be fun? So thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you had a good time, and thank you for joining online. Yeah, we need a picture.
Well done.
Okay.
Well done.
What's that? Hang up on that people online. Or we'll. Yeah,
Oh.
Please.
All right, well, thank you everybody for joining. Have a good night.
You bet.